record. Alright, folks, we are here to bring you what is known as the best games of December. But before we do that,
welcome to the only geriatric gaming...
Not the podcast.
Not podcast.
In the known universe. Just swing it.
Yeah.
Alright. Yo, peeps! Welcome to the Wednesday Wacky Show of Wacky Wednesdayness. And it's actually really not that wacky. It's literally a top games of December.
Of wackiness!
Hey, and we're back. Also so that's cool.
Welcome back to the second Post-Cove episode.
Post-Cove episode, yes. I'm your host, one of them, Wide-Eyed. This is the other host.
Pfarcus, the P is silent.
And so we're here to talk about the best games of December, the games of December that are the best.
What he's trying to say is the top games of December.
And so we're going to drop you some of those information bombs. And with that note, drop us a like, listen to my dog bark, possibly subscribe, and click the notification bell. So welcome back. Welcome back to the show. A little hiatus. I know this is the second episode in, but glad you stuck with us. And so the games of this month. What's interesting you? What on this beautiful list of games has piqued your interest?
Well, considering I already own the game, Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077, the game that seemed to have been in development for precisely forever.
For exactly 2077 years.
It's true. It's a true story. It was actually in development before we were born.
Before the Earth. Yeah, it was a long time. And, hype around that game has been huge. I think they already came out and said they sold 8 million copies before the game was even released. So I had to laugh because they had a bit of a... Because of all the blowback and weird stuff going with the game, they had the stock has dropped 29%. I'm like, really? The stock has dropped 29% on a game that sold 8 billion copies before? Who does the stocks? They should all be fired. It sold 8 billion copies before it was even a thing. Anyways, that's annoying. That's my gripe.
I've been curious about Haven, if it's the game I'm thinking of, which is releasing on December 10th, which means it should already be out. I should be able to check it out. And if it's not the game I'm thinking about, well, then I'll feel like a jackass. Sword of the Necromancer, which is a little...
Zelda thing, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of
on the Switch, I think it has a Zelda component.
Yeah. It's coming on December 10th. Space Invaders Forever. Probably the 10 millionth Space Invaders game to come out, but I always love that design of a game.
Do you have Binding of Isaac on PC?
No, but... I did not know, but apparently The Binding of Isaac is coming out with a DLC at the end of the month. A new DLC. I am quite fond of that game. For those who don't know, The Binding of Isaac is a little roguelike where you fight demons away with your tears. I'm not actually making that up. That is your weapon. You cry your tears into the enemies and they go away. Very bizarre game. Quite fond of it, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't actually know much about the DLC, if it's a new story DLC.
I think many do. I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah. That's the first time I saw it, and it's specifically just for PC, which I think is normally the case, because with the Switch version, I think it all got released as whatever the package was at that time.
Yeah, like the super duper...
Yeah, and now it's behind, because PC always gets the Binding of Isaac love before everybody, so that's kind of normal.
Apparently Medal of Honor is coming out with a VR game. I did not know that.
World War II VR, that could be out for PC.
Yeah. Which is interesting, but we can't play it because...
I'm going to say something about this entire list that is striking me, and I think you already had mentioned it before this, was that a lot of these are just redone games or brought up to the standard of the new system, like Destiny 2.
Yeah. Doom Eternal for the Switch.
Doom Eternal. A lot of it's just stuff that's already out there. It's actually kind of a quiet month by the looks of things.
I think nobody wanted to compete with Cyberpunk.
It looks like that's what happened. All titles just skedaddled or whatever because there's nothing. There's Doom Eternal on Switch was honestly was supposed to come out a while back ago.
Yeah.
Destiny 2. Ooh, my God, the 30,000th time Destiny's gone out. So, like, that's not exciting. Call of Duty Warzone. Yeah. Season 7.
One game I am curious about, in all honesty, is a game called Call of the Sea, which is a little bit of a throwback to the point-and-click games. It's an adventure story-based game. I don't know much about it, except it's a little bit of a mystery game. Thing. Yeah.
It's not PS at all, so...
so only...
Way to flex your exclusives.
Good people can play it. Yeah, but one of the things I noticed, though, is that there's a lot of... Season 2, Season 7, like there's Call of Duty Warzone Season 7, which for those who don't know, it's basically Call of Duty's... It's Call of Duty's PUBG. There's a lot of people who know what I mean by that. Wood Salt, whatever that is. There's also, actually speaking of PUBG, there's a new season of PUBG coming out on December 16th on PC, and for consoles on December 17th. There's a game called Override 2 Super Mech League, which sounds kind of awesome, coming out on December 22nd. But for me, the biggest game is definitely Shakes on a Plane for the Switch.
Oh, you beat it. You beat me to it. Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know anything. It sounds like, I'm assuming it's a rhythm game.
There's like one game that I'm going to buy this entire month. Yeah, it's good for the page, the old wallet.
Yeah, we're not going to get too backlogged this
month is going to be parade finally.
Oh, the Cove.
Yeah. Well, that's probably good because I heard like there's a bunch of stuff coming in 2021. So.
Yeah, I think December is going to be a little bit of a quiet month. Which is kind of sad for people who have new consoles.
Yeah, because there's nothing to buy.
The one game that we want to talk about a little bit, though, is definitely a big one, which is Cyberpunk 2077.
And even that's not a next-gen game.
No, it's kind of weird the way it's released. It's like the next gen is coming soon.
Yeah, I thought that was strange, too. It's like, we're going to give you a day one patch that's going to bring it up a little bit above the standard of PS4 and Xbox, but then we're going to... then release down the line the full next-gen experience.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Eventually.
After we all beat the game.
Yeah. I've actually had a little bit of time with Cyberpunk on the Xbox Series X. The weird thing is I've heard CD Projekt Red is really against people reviewing the game on console for whatever reason. I don't know if we're...
You're not supposed to send... I think people have been allowed to talk about it, but they haven't been able to
get review
pictures and stuff. They haven't been able to show footage, mostly.
What the hell?
And I don't know if there's specific details that they can't talk about, but there were some, like, a lot of preview talking about, like, what their feelings were about the game, like, a lot of generic stuff.
Yeah, so I've had a few days with it. I can speak to my feelings about it. So far, it's been hilariously buggy. I was mentioning to Widied earlier, there's one bug I ran into multiple times where people can be seen driving their car without their car, which just makes me laugh. In fairness to...
Don't become the new Bethesda.
Yeah. Well, in fairness... I think people always forget that open world games tend to have to need a lot of time kind of out in the wild to kind of gather all the bugs, because there's just such a huge world. It's kind of impossible to expect them to find all of the bugs.
Imagine what it would have been like had it come out when it originally is set to come out.
Oh, there would have been bugs.
Just everything would be nothing and no cars, just people floating around. It's everywhere. That's how we drive in the future.
Yeah, we should float.
Insert body. Yeah, pixelated body. Yeah, no, it is interesting. Like I bought into the hype of the game. I'll admit it, but I do like Cyberpunk. Kind of that. I like Blade Runner is an awesome movie. I love that movie, and I like that sort of vibe. So I'm super excited. I haven't tried it yet. Like I didn't jump in because I was already still finishing up a few games from one of the Black Friday deals that I bought into.
Yeah.
Ghost of Sushi. I've been playing that. So I've kind of said that I wouldn't start it until I beat that, which should be pretty soon. So I should be digging into it, which I'm happy to. I got some vacation coming, so.
Actually, and not that this is a review or anything, but one of the things that kind of struck me as interesting about the game was it feels, for anyone who's read Neuromancer by William Gibson or any of the Philip K. Dick sci-fi stories, it feels very much so in that world. Like, I think a lot of people who love the idea of like the hacker in the future, Johnny Mnemonic kind of vibe, are going to be very happy about this game.
It seems like there's a lot of interesting angles anyways, like the initial stories from what you were telling me and from what I read, like the fact that you can be, I mean, I have no problem monopolizing the conversation around this game for this month, because I think that's literally what this month is, it's the Cyberpunk month.
Yeah.
If there was more things to talk about, we would, but on all honesty, this game is going to come in and then take up hours of your time this month anyways. Chances are you're not going to have any time to finish any other game in this, especially if you're an adult. You only have when you get home from work. So I do think like the starting stories are very interesting, giving you a perspective like from an elite hacker corporate person to like some street thug to like some nomadic, almost Mad Maxian.
Yeah, Drifter, I think.
Drifter, which is really interesting angles. I hope that they're unique enough. Like I was wondering, I don't know the answer to this, whether or not like the stories cross-pollinate at some point, or if they actually literally just their own.
I think they're their own, because you pick from 3 versions of the main character. Like, they're all the main character.
Oh, you always play the same.
Yeah, they call them V.
Just different in the universe.
Yeah, it's like you personalize the V character as you. Also, you can customize your penis. That's the thing. You can customize your penis. I chose to be accurate, so I picked the big one. So actually, this should be a warning to parents. Don't forget that that's an option in the game.
Past the first minute. Yeah, like honestly, and that's actually a good point to just bring up in general. Because I actually mused to you in this whole, when I found out about that, about like how so many parents are going to, like, you know, like when Grand Theft Auto came out, and every parent ever was buying this game without understanding that, you know, these people are going to be able to like have sex with hookers. And
this is kind of that kind of game. Like, I will say this, if you have kids, this is probably not a good choice of game for them. I can't say for sure what kind of content the game gets into.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But from what I've experienced, it's pretty racy.
From what I understand, it's definitely a darker take on. It's not like, hey, this is Care Bear Land. And
no, it's very much so.
The Care Bears are all naked with their penises hanging out.
Actually, there's a funny bug I've heard of where the main character's penis just will not stay in his pants.
That's the reference I was making. Yeah, I read that too. It's like
that's actually a bug, apparently. It's just
the game. Yeah, it's interesting. So, yeah, it's a game. I think it's gonna be pretty. Honestly, like Witcher was kind of like that too, though. It had its racier bits. So
bits.
Bitties. Yeah, so I think like there's definitely that to watch out for if you're like a mom or a dad. You're thinking about picking this up for little Timmy is. Yeah, so little Timmy, if you're gonna look out for him, don't buy him Cyberpunk, no matter how much you ask for.
Yeah, it's not a kid's game.
Unless you're like super hip, cool parents, and you know you're riding the wave of liberalism.
If you're comfortable watching Game of Thrones with your kid,
yeah, then you're probably
you're probably okay.
You have to judge it based on. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but
and I mean that
if you have any morals, you won't. No, just kidding. Morals is all about the play here. I think like the game is like for adults. It's a very adult game. Like it's an adult themed game, and like young adults, sure, whatever. Like, but like you know, your 5-year-old, maybe save them. They're not going to get much from this experience.
And actually, in terms of like the gameplay itself, it's actually surprisingly difficult. And I'm not sure if I'm bad at the game, or I encountered some random bugs, or a bit of column A,
regardless,
a bit of column B.
Because of how many bugs are in this game, everybody who's bad at the game will always have that to fall back on. Win-win. I got your back.
It's the game. It's bugs.
Totally the game.
It's bugs.
It's always the game.
It's bugs. I am the best.
I'm the best cyberpunk there ever was.
I am the cyber. They modeled the game after me.
Clearly. But I do think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting that they have like the RPG first-person shooter thing going on. That's interesting to me because you don't see that a whole lot. You do see it every now and again. Like Borderlands was kind of that, and there's another game you mentioned at one point earlier conversation. Anyways, it was a game that was also a first-person shooter. Rage.
Yes, Rage.
RPG.
Yeah,
I never played Rage, so I can't speak to it. But
it's a bit like Doom meets Mad Max. For those who played Rage, and it kind of had mixed feelings. It was a game that nobody asked for. That was a solid game, but nobody asked for it. So it was,
nobody got hyped over it. Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot to be there. Like I said, December's kind of a sparse month. This was kind of nice for the people of the next gen because even though it's not really fully a next gen game, it is a game that does try to take advantage of the next gen situation, and it is at the tail end, so it is going to be. It's like when Last of Us was out, right? Like, or it got pulled into the.
It was the PS3/PS4, yeah.
But it still looked great on the PS4 and still moved it forward, right? And that's how a lot of games are going to be like now, anyways. Although I say Demon's Souls is gorgeous. Oh.
I just come to think of it, Last of Us 2 kind of came out in the same general.
Last of Us 2 was just recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
but I guess it is. If you wanted to use it on the newest gen, it would showcase it fairly well because it was known to be a looker of a game when it came out. So is that. I do think, in all honesty, this month is just Cyberpunk the month.
Cyberpunk and spend time with your family and Christmas.
No, unless they're Cyberpunks, you don't do
Cyberpunk.
That. Yeah, spend time with your family. Merry Christmas. We'll see you before that anyway.
Yes.
Probably. How does this work out? Yeah, we will.
We have one more.
2 more times potentially.
Okay, so yeah.
A Sunday and a Wednesday. Anyways, that's it for me. If you like the content, or whatever your favorite games are for the month of December, put it down in the comment section. Let us know what you're playing or what you think we're playing. Maybe we missed something that's interesting. Not that I need more games on my backlog, but I'm always looking, so there's that. Just drop a like, subscribe if you want more content like this. This is one of the ones that we drop at the beginning of most months, so bye.